Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching this recording. Today, I'm joined by Daniel Michelson from EncorEstate Plans. As you've seen in our Premier Insider that we blasted out, Premier has decided to partner with EncorEstate Plans for digital estate planning solutions. We did probably actually a few months of research on all the different options out there. And for various reasons, we decided to go with EncorEstate Plans. Some of those reasons would be their flexibility with pricing and their pay-as-you-go model, also the human side of their operation, from document review to just ongoing support, is fantastic. So today I'm going to let Dan run you through their product, their pricing, and cover some of the interesting tidbits that come along with the product. So with that, Dan, feel free to take it away.
All right, thanks. And hello, everybody. Again, my name is Daniel Michelson here at Encore. And when I start, I'm going to share my screen and walk through some of this today with you. What I like to talk about is this is not as complicated as you think it is. Most advisors that I begin talking to about estate planning think of this as, hey, there's different buckets of types of management that you can do as an advisor, right? There's my managed money, maybe there's life insurance, maybe there's annuities, maybe there's a tax side of the practice, and then they think of it as estate planning. Do I want to add this other bucket or this piece on the shelf as another service? And although true, it is another service that is being offered to the client, estate planning is central in everything you do as a financial advisor today. You are managing assets, right? You are talking to clients about their livelihoods. So every beneficiary designation, that is estate planning. When my background as an attorney here in California, doing estate planning, moving in with the technology side, I often worked with financial advisors, and you guys are vital already in making sure that things are connected. You know when things are happening, whenever new accounts are created, new jobs, new transfers, they get married, divorced. All of these events are central to your practice because you meet with them every year. You have these relationships with clients. So this is something where I'll talk through. It's not like a one and done. This is not a blast your clients with an email and say, let's do estate planning today. This is something that I think you're already doing more of than you ever thought. So let's talk through some of that. And also involved with that is your clients know they need this, but the process is broken. So why did Encore create itself other than we saw a need in the marketplace? Well, you've probably sent people to an attorney before. Did they go do it? Maybe. Was it the first year you sent them to do it? Probably not. Most people are not getting plans done. They're procrastinating. There's a lot of reasons around that. Merrill Lynch did an advisor survey, and we used theirs because they broke the estate planning part into two pieces. 88% of people used words like irresponsible, inconsiderate, or ignorant when they described individuals who passed away without some sort of estate plan. That's a pretty big percentage. Yet 58% of people don't have their plans done. This is a strange dichotomy of we know we need to do it, right? 88%. We're not doing it, 58%. We got to look at this and say, why? Why are people not doing something they know they need to do? In order to answer that question, you have to look at how could they do it today? And this is even before Encore came around. So how could they have done a plan? Everyone knows there's attorneys that do estate planning, right? You can send them to an attorney. Now, we have other companies that have popped up all over the estate planning world. In addition to Encore, Encore was actually the first created for advisors over 5 years ago, but now there's a handful of others, and those are what we call DIY or delegation tools. So the theme of today that I want to talk to you about is delegation or collaboration. And we at Encore are always talking about collaboration. You and your clients collaborating to get something done rather than you delegating another job to the client, hoping that they get the job done. And that's what we talk about, this DIY idea. LegalZoom's been doing it for over 20 years. There's other, state specific, they could go online and find a template. And that's what these other tools are doing is you're sending a link to a client. They are the ones filling in the information. They're the ones clicking enter, doing all the work. And the difference between going to an attorney and doing that delegation, that DIY is, well, there's a different cost associated to it. But we also know, because we have a link option where you could send it to a client, it's over 7 times less likely to be completed if you're not collaborating and working with your client to get it done. So Yes, it's nice to have another option that doesn't cost as much as an attorney, but we just know from doing tens of thousands of plans in all 50 states that it just doesn't get the plan done. So everything Encore does is you, the advisor, have the login. You are the one solving this problem. You are not an attorney. You are not practicing law. Everything that we do here is focused and central along you providing valuable information, not advice. And I know I'm skipping over some of the compliance part here, but just know we vetted all that out already. We've done that with many of the top 100 RIAs in the country, broker dealers. And then anybody who wants more info, we can chat through that. But just know it's even though we're not spending a lot of time on it on this webinar, there is a lot of background that goes into the compliance component here. But why advisors? Why are we trusting you to get the job done? You already do it. You make these complex ideas. You take financial plans, life plans, and you work hard to make it easy to understand for the client. You already have built these emotional relationships with clients. You have so much of the information. If I showed you how easy it is to fill in an estate plan right now, there's 7 steps to get one done. You have over half of it in your CRM for probably every client that you already work with. There's only really 5 questions someone fills out to go through their estate plan. It's going to be who gets what, right? Who are my beneficiaries? How do they get it? What type of restrictions? Do I want them to get it all at 18 over a certain period of time? Do I never want them to get it and have a corporate trustee on it? Who do I want to make financial choices when I'm dead, right? My trustee, my power of attorney. Who do I want to make healthcare choices? And who do I want to take care of my minor kids? A lot of that stuff, but you already know the addresses, names of family members, all of those things. So again, we're happy to talk through all of the landscape here. And I want to talk about something we do well, but things that we don't do well as other companies that are out there. So there are other companies that are out there that focus really hard on visualization of the estate and creating more of the graphs, the charts, and the planning side of it. I don't think of Encore as estate planning. The word planning is almost misleading because we're not planning it out and showing, hey, if you die here, here's the tax ramification. If you give this account to this person, that does this. What we're doing is creating the estate. So Encore is fully focused on that collaboration. Me work with my client, get docs done. We are for the mass affluent. We're not for that $20+ million client who's going to need more hand-holding there. Some of the other tools are fantastic. They have pages and pages and so much information around visualization, but they are restricted in the creation side because they are software only. What we'll talk a lot about here today is how Encore is human-driven with really just a layer of software on the front end. Now, I hope that most people on the call understand at least a little bit about estate planning and know, yeah, it's probably important to have a will or a trust, and morally, ethically, I want my clients to have one as well. But we also know that you're running a business and you don't want to spend more time if it's not making business sense as well. So these are the 4 biggest buckets of what we see as value as for an advisor that starts offering estate planning. So there generally is a revenue component. This isn't a cost to you, especially as Sebastian said in the beginning, we're not a subscription. This is not a you pay us a yearly fee. This is a pay as you go type option. Most advisors are making the rate that they pay back. They're charging a planning fee on top of that. But what I focus more on is the other 3. We've seen hundreds of millions of dollars uncovered in asset discovery. If you've ever done a trust, there's something called the Schedule A and Exhibit A. Ours is called an Exhibit A. It looks like a blank form broken out into types of assets. So it shows like, what are your 401ks? What's your life insurance? It just breaks down types of assets. And within there, your client's going to fill in everything that they own. And what does that mean? Well, they're filling it out for their estate plan because when they die, their trustee might have a trust and it might be funded, but how are they going to know which banks and institutions to call if we don't give them a map for it? So that's how I always think of that Exhibit A is not only the intention shown of wanting things to be associated with the trust, but it's also that page that me as trustee stepping in can go, okay, it looks like they have an account at Schwab. It looks like they have a life insurance policy here, and I know where to go. And you as the advisor, what an ultimate cheat code to be able to step in for an onboarding prospect or clients you've been working with and see that random 401k from 4 jobs ago for 50 grand that you never knew about that now you can roll over, right? There's all these things that are uncovered that you would never see. We work a lot on the retention side to do someone's estate plan. If they are married, guess what? You can't do it just for one spouse. You can't do a joint trust and never meet the husband or never meet the wife. You need to get both parties involved. Oftentimes that means talking about children or different family members. So getting to the next generation there. We'll talk about something called a powers package, which is just healthcare directive, HIPAA release, and financial power of attorney. So if you have clients with kids turning 18, you can get that document done because when you turn 18, you can't talk to the doctor anymore for your kid. You want to be able to get those done so that you can go to your college age kid who's prone to get hurt and be able to call the doctor, talk to financial aid, do all the things that the minute they turned 18 and became an adult, you no longer could do. And then referrals is one of the biggest, easiest things that you'll get out of this. And I'll talk more on that when I get to the visualization. We have a lot of different testimonials you can go read about on our website, but people creating easily a 6-figure bottom line number just by adding estate planning and offering it to their clients. Lots of different referrals coming through different firms here. Now, when I talk about the life cycle here, we're talking about when does it come up? How are these different pieces of estate planning relevant at different times? Your clients either do or they don't have an estate plan today. If they do have an estate plan, maybe they did one a decade ago, maybe they did one 20 years ago. What does it say now? Most people go, I think it says this, I think it does that. Well, we don't want to give you homework. You don't need to go read through that. You don't need to put it in a software and go ahead and check all the boxes to figure out what it says. All you need to do, if you're working with Encore, is scan it in, or if they have a digital copy, just drag and drop that in for us, and we will read it and do a one-page summary for you. So what does this one-page summary do? It says all of the concrete things in that trust document, in that estate plan, that you would need to change documents in order to change. So who are all the guardians, right, at the bottom there? Who are all the healthcare agents for different parties? Who are the executors, the trustees? Looks like there's 3 beneficiaries. It also looks like there's a $50,000 specific gift going to the Red Cross. You know, it's an AB trust is how this trust was set up. So when we look at this, you can give this to the client and we give you a list of some questions to prompt to go, hey, Joseph and Carolyn, will you confirm all these people are alive? Is there any other children, family members, friends, charities that you want to add to beneficiaries? Or take, you know, are these all valid? Are all these people still alive down here? Anyone else you want to add in? And when you do that, you should be asking the second level question, which is, hey, did you tell all these people down here that they are a part of your estate plan? And you will be surprised that most people, like I'm talking 90+% of people, never tell anyone that they created their estate plan. And that's from personal experience as well. And also talking to thousands, we work with over 3,500 firms here at Encore and just seeing it every day. When this is so vital to your practice and so easy to go get referrals. So the way we've built it out at Encore is get permission from your client. This will be branded to you. So where you see the Encore logo, we actually put your website, your information on this page. It won't be branded to Encore. And now print out a copy of this for each person, highlight their name, and we have a one-pager describing what it means to be any of these roles. So you can staple that to it, and you can go ahead and send this out to all the different people saying, hey, we're working with Joseph and Carolyn. You know, they just completed their estate plan. We wanted to let you know that you were named as a healthcare agent, attached as a form saying what that really means to be a healthcare agent. That is an introduction to 5 to 15 people, depending how many people they name, for every single plan that you're doing of the most trusted people in their life. So that is very simple to go through. You can do that for people that already had trust, or all the ones you're creating, you can do the same process for. Now, Encore, I talked collaboration versus delegation, right? The theme. So this is you working with your client. You're the one with the login. You're not sending links out to clients. You're navigating through this. Well, we can do new plans, of course, but we also can do restatements of plans. And what that means is this, where we talked about, if they had done a plan 10 years ago and they did need to make changes to it, a trust document I always talk about is like a safe. So to take a step back, estate planning in general is I talk to my client and I say, client, if you pass away today and you don't have any documents done, your family will go to somewhere called probate. The court system made for navigating through, distributing assets, handling all of your post-life decisions. There's a statutory code in your state that determines how much that'll cost, what the attorney fees are, and every state varies in from 3 months to, if you're in California like me, it's taken over 2 years to get through right now. So that's the process, and it determines who gets what. So you're not deciding. Now, if you have a will, that's like giving a map to the court to follow. You still go to probate, you still pay the same fees, it still takes the same amount of time, but instead of using that statutory code, that intestate law of who gets what, your will be that map for them. Now, if you have a trust, that's like creating a safe. So you still go to probate unless things are inside of the safe. So just having a trust doesn't magically make you not go to probate. It only makes you not go to probate if you put things inside of it. So most trusts, like ours at Encore, has things like a general transfer and other documents which transfer majority of things. But if you own a home, that's oftentimes your largest asset. You got to put that inside of there. Beneficiary designations flowing there, like connecting different accounts, whether we retitle, beneficiary, anything with the beneficiary flows to the beneficiary, as you most likely know. But everything else that doesn't have a beneficiary on it, it needs to be inside of that trust document. So that is the landscape of going, all right, I understand I have this trust, this safe. Maybe I did it 10 years ago, but if all these are different, I don't want to create a new safe. I just want to modify this existing safe. And that's what that means to do a restatement. So Encore will do that. If you've done a plan 10 years ago, you can keep the same bones of that safe, that trust. We will just restate it with all of the changes to make it be, it's the same entity, that same trust. So you don't need to take things out and put it into a new one, but we will be able to handle that for you as a restatement. Any plans you do with us, we can do the amendments. We do deed filing and business assignments and those powers packages that I talked about. That sounds like you just glossed over, but deed filing and deed creation might be one of the most important things. You can go online and get a trust, right? I talked about that being the safe, the bones. Your client's home, why are you going to go send them a link? They go through, they create this trust, they go through all this process, they don't go to an attorney, and you don't move a house either into the trust or at least do a TOD, transfer on death deed, for the home. Because if you don't do those things, you're just leaving their largest asset to now need to go be probated, even though they already did all the work to do that. So Encore handles all of that for the client. That's this big pyramid of the why Encore. These things that are on here are unique to us. So others in here in our landscape are a software company, and that is all they are. Meaning you give a link or there's access online, you type things in, you hit enter, and boom, instantly there's these documents created. That's not how Encore works. Encore is a team behind the scenes of this human review aspect. Even though some of us may have law degrees, we're never operating as your attorney or your client's attorney, but we do add this heightened level of quality control to make sure things are looking good. So everything you enter in, so you have your login to Encore, you work with your client, you fill in information. I'll show you what that means here in a second. You hit enter and pay, you don't get documents. It takes 5 business days to get those documents. The reason for that is we put 2 human estate planners on every plan to review for quality control. So we look at things like Sebastian's name, Sullivan, has two L's in it, it looks like, right? Hey, if he was my client and Encore did my plan, they might email me and say, hey, Daniel, will you confirm the client's husband's last name has 1 L, but spouse's name has 2 L's? Oh no, that was a typo in there. Or, hey, will you confirm, Daniel, that you were the trustee on the plan as the advisor? That's usually a big no-no, right? We're catching those things. Or, hey, will you confirm that the 2-year-old daughter is the only trustee listed on this plan? There's just things that we do as human errors that it's nice to have that backing, that background to be able to check for it. Also, having that allows for this customization, and it allows for the deed side. Deeds are not just a software thing where you enter it and hit enter and it goes to a county. Every single county in the country has its own process for deed filing. It's not every state, it's every county. So we have a team of people that's all they do here. So in the software, your job with the client is putting the address and then checking a box saying, yep, we want a deed. Encore's job is in that 5 business days, we'll pull that information. We will go to the county, we'll pull the existing deed, we'll write a new deed, we'll give you that new deed, and in that 5 business days, and all you need to do is send us back the notarized one, and then we go back to that county and record it. You can't, like, just having the deed done and notarized doesn't do anything if it's not recorded. So we're doing all of that work. Inside of every plan that you do, the more you know about estate planning, the more this means to you. But you will start figuring these things out as you start navigating it. But the customization is important. So what I mean by that is we can have different restrictions for every beneficiary. So if they have 4 kids, one of them, they might want to get everything at 18. They trust them, they love them, whatever. That's great. One of the kids might have a bunch of problems. They never want them to be in control of the money. They want someone else to be able to distribute that. You can have different rules set up and Encore can sustain and handle that. Maybe they have a kid with special needs. We can add in special needs trust provisions within there. Maybe they have a weird one-off thing. You can add a note onto the plan. Everything else out there is you all need the same restrictions. So if you want restrictions on kids, you want them to get it at 25, they all got to get it at 25, right? This is something where we don't think that's the greatest process there. We want to work with you to make sure the clients are getting the type of plan that they want. And that only can be done because you can't have 50 drop downs, but we can have a note section where you can type what you want. And because we have 5 business days to get it back to you, we can go grab that language and throw it in for you. It's always going to be pay as you go, pretty easy to follow there. We're nothing new in the marketplace. If you haven't heard about us, look us up at Michael Kitcey's T3 everywhere. We are the highest rated for advisor satisfaction all over the place for creating estate plans. Just some pricing on there. It's on the website. There is a couple different ways to get started, but I want to just show you how easy the online platform is just to end here. So if you're logged in, you can create your account for free. You go to EncorEstatePlans.com and there's a Create My Free Plan button right at the top. When you go in there, there's a knowledge base that it will drive you to. There are hundreds of resources in here. We also have an academy that will be available for you of video options. There's 5 required trainings that you do have to do before you can complete a plan. So it talks about unauthorized practice of law, how to enter the data in here. This is 27 minutes of videos for you to go through, but there's also a whole lot of other information that you can find out about and have available for you. But when you're doing a plan, there's those 7 steps that I talked about. So when you're inside of here, every single question has a little explanation about what we're asking for. So you never have to be figuring things out on your own. Of course, there's also one-pagers, videos. Even though I'm showing you this right now and you're going, well, I don't know how I even got to this point. There's so much training that's available to you. It'll take you maybe an hour of commitment to figure out how to get to this point. There's group trainings. We can do one-on-one training. So I know it looks like, hey, Daniel, you're making it look easy. It's probably not that easy. It is pretty easy. Sebastian can talk about it. We can talk about it some more. But just know when you're inside of here, this add note button is what I was talking about. You can just tell us what the client's asking for. You can say, hey, Encore, the client said that they wanted their daughter to have age-based at 25, 30, and 35. But they said if she gets married before 25 to give her $20,000, right? Okay, how are we ever going to have a drop down for that one-off question here? If it's just software, we can't, but we can add that note and we'll make sure that's inside of there. Once you're done, that's when you can check out and pay. You can send it to the client to give confirmation for it, but that's it inside of here. It's as simple as I want to create a new plan. Do I want to do a new plan or do I want to create a summary of an existing plan? There's going to be some disqualification questions because we want to keep you out of trouble, right? They need to have mental capacity. They can't be above the federal tax limit. We don't want them disinheriting any children. And then you just decide, there's the advisor-driven. Am I doing a will-based, a trust-based, or a powers package that we talked about? So this is it. I'm just guiding right through those steps. We have a questionnaire that's PDF form the client can fill in that fills in 100% of this. There's a lot of other pieces there, but we can support you all along the way. And anyone who wants to dive deeper into it, we'll be at the conference coming up. Well, I'm sure we'll meet some of you there, but we can jump on any other time to dive in deeper with you. But I did want to leave and stop sharing the screen and talk to Sebastian for a second because he ended up doing something called a concierge start, which is a little different. You don't need to do that. It is an option for you though. So most people come in, we have 3,500 plus firms. You come in, you create your free account. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we have a group training called Encore Essentials, which helps you download the right knowledge base articles. There's a disclosure for the client. There's a one pager. It guides you to do your first plan, but we do have a more catered start. And I just wanted to have Sebastian talk about his experience going as he got started. And I think that's it for everybody today.
Yes, thanks, Dan. So we started with Encore maybe about a month ago, and it was kind of timely. We had a client that came in and said they needed some estate planning help. So we decided to test it out, but weren't quite ready to just do it by ourselves. So Dan's team offered the concierge start, and we used them to run our first plan, and everything went very well. We were very appreciative of the ability to do that. And I think you guys offer it for your first two plans that you do. So we're actively working with the second couple that wants to get some estate planning work done to work through with Encore as well as the second group to go through that concierge start. So yes, I can't speak highly enough about the product. The concierge start was great. Dan touched on the knowledge base as well, which has been very helpful to me in our firm. This is a world that's kind of foreign to us. We're not estate attorneys, we're financial planners, but the knowledge base has been very instrumental in getting us up to speed on not only how to use the system, but also just common concepts that come up in the estate planning process. So yeah, we've been very impressed and we'll continue to work with Dan and his team and hope that you, the advisor watching this webinar, will do the same.
Yeah, thanks, Sebastian. And there's things that we didn't cover today. Just know we actually even have an attorney network. So if clients do want to talk to an attorney at the end of the day, in 35 states, it's available. It will be all 50 by the end of the year. So if they want to do a Zoom call, they can. It's $500 more after the fact. They get a 30-minute Zoom call, and that's after that attorney actually vets the plan as well and writes an opinion letter on it. That's not going to be required for a majority of your clients, but just know Encore does think about these things, and there are levels and complexities to plans. For the mass affluent, you can handle. Some of them, maybe you just want just a couple words of advice from an attorney to step in. That's where that would play a role. And the other ones, you obviously will just refer out to attorneys. But yeah, thank you if you got to the end here. It's something that I'm passionate about because we all have estate plans right now. It's just that the state wrote it. And having been in the probate process more than a few times, it is not a fun place to be. So being able to protect the clients, go through that, get something done that takes an hour of your time, but will save the family of the clients hundreds of hours after the fact is just something that is so important to me. So thank you for listening, and I hope that I get to talk to you a lot soon.
Thanks, Dan. I'll wrap it up here. I'll put my OSJ compliance hat on as well before we go because I know we'll get questions. Obviously, there's fees involved with this. If you're going to pick up the fee as the advisor and you want to turn around and charge the client, we get that. Give us a call. We'll walk you through how the financial planning engagement needs to be done with Cambridge so that you can essentially recoup those fees and make a little money also doing this as well. But with that, thank you, Dan, for doing this. If anybody has any follow-up questions or wants to get in touch with Dan and how to get signed up with EncorEstate, just let us know and we'll get the ball rolling on that. But thank you for watching and take care.
Bye now.